Welcome to the JWA Webinar Series, Leading Through Change and Uncertainty, brought to you by Fuyuan Jewellery Joint Stock Company, PNJ for short, a leading jewelry manufacturer in Asia. My name is Edna Wong, and I will be the host and moderator for this event. This is the second of the JWA Webinar Series, and the topic today is on exploring AI in the jewelry industry. These webinars are designed to be thought-provoking, serve as a channel to explore new ideas and a means to discover different ways of doing things. It is intended to be interactive and engaging. Despite the pandemic, we are very happy to be connected with audience from all over the world, covering all 5 continents, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and Africa, and countries like the Middle East and Australia. This is a recorded session, which will be available on the JWA website and social media platforms after the event. In addition, there is live streaming on Facebook. So for those who have not yet registered and would like to participate, they can join us on Facebook. Today, we are honored to have Ms. Jeanne Lim, co-founder and CEO of beingAI, as our keynote speaker. Jeanne will be sharing briefly how AI works, how it has transformed the fashion industry, and how it can be adopted in the jewelry industry. This discussion will be shared by 2 other panelists who are leaders from the jewelry trade. Mr. Kent Wong, Managing Director, Corporate in Hong Kong, Macau, and Overseas of Chow Tai Fook Jewelry Group, and Mr. Li Chongjie, CEO of China Stone Company Limited. Mr. Wong was the 2020 recipient of the JNA Lifetime Achievement Award, and Chow Tai Fook has been the recipient for several categories, including Brand of the Year, Manufacturer of the Year, Employer of the Year, and Innovation of the Year over the past 9 years. China Stone is also no stranger in the jewelry industry and the JNA Awards, which is the former brand of JWA. It was the recipient of the Innovation of the Year Award and Manufacturer of the Year Award. They will be sharing their insights and perspectives on how technology has changed certain aspects of the jewelry and gemstone business. Before we start, let's hear from our sponsor, PNJ. So now let me pass the microphone to Ms. Jeanne Lim. Jeanne, please.
Thank you, Edna. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see? Great. So I'd like to thank JWA for inviting me to this exciting initiative, and also so proud to be on the same panel as the esteemed Mr. Wong and Mr. Li. So I have a quite brief presentation to talk about the applications of AI in the jewelry industry. Since I am not a domain expert, I've been focusing on looking at a parallel industry, which is the fashion industry. And I've included a few use cases for the jewelry industry. So I'm so happy to have the industry experts sitting here with me on this panel. Okay, so first I'd like to impress upon the audience that AI is a disruptive technology. It's here to stay, and it will be as disruptive as electricity many years ago, 100 years ago, and as internet maybe about 20 years ago. So AI will be transforming every single industry and every single application. So in the future, we're gonna not be talking about AI companies because every company will be AI enabled. So this is another perspective from the CEO of Google. he said AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. And the reason is because AI could actually learn and adapt and program itself. So they're saying that with AI, people actually no longer need to program anything. So AI would actually be creative and be able to program all the software in the future. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the foundation, because I think it would be important for you to at least to get an understanding of the core technologies of AI in order to appreciate the applications of AI and what technologies is being used in some of these use cases. So when we talk about AI, there are several branches of AI. So nowadays, most people are talking about machine learning, which means learning from past data to make a prediction of the future. So deep learning is a branch of machine learning, which uses more complicated algorithm that could look deep into the hidden layers, the hidden information within the data. So it's just another branch of machine learning. So natural language processing, it's really exciting field nowadays, because human language has been probably the hardest thing to grapple for computers. And so now we have these big language models that are able to decipher how humans talk and then predict what is the next word and the next sentence. So this is going to be powering a lot of the AI systems later on. Expert systems is heavily used in the medical field. So basically you have human experts programming the databases so that AI could do the search and make the decision based on the knowledge base. So speech recognition, it's an extension of handling language. So basically recognizing your speech, converting it into text, and then basically processing the text through natural language processing, and then have it come out back to speech. So when you have a conversation with Alexa, you're using speech recognition and the natural language processing behind it. Vision is very important in the fashion industry and actually in the jewelry industry. And later on, you know why, because there's a lot of AI technologies used, computer vision used in a lot of the applications. Robotics, I think all of you know, industrial robotics is very common in the factory. And planning just means that you set a goal and then basically the AI plans steps to achieve the goal. So it's used in many of the organizational processing work. So I wanted to talk a little bit about artificial creativity, because this is a new advance in AI that a lot of people didn't realize could happen even a few years back. So this is an example that this is an AI that created a new Rembrandt based on analyzing over 300 pieces of Rembrandt's historical work, because it analyzes the patterns of the ink, the lighting, the attire, the ink blots. So it is able to use that kind of pattern recognition and then remix the pattern to create a new Rembrandt style painting. So this painting actually fooled many experts. They thought it was actually really painted by Rembrandt. So the technology behind it, it's called Generative Adversarial Network, GANs. And it's really interesting technology because it basically has two AI in it. One is called the generator, and one is called the discriminator. So what happens is you have a real faces. So this is an example of how you create a fake face. So you have real faces as data input, and you have random generator generating random faces. And then this discriminator compares the random generated faces with the real faces, and then it'll be able to tell you, is it fake or is it real? So if you run this millions of times, the AI will become really good, and it'll be able to generate very realistic faces like these. So you could define a coarse style, or like, you know, a coarse one would be the face, the hair, the face shape, and then middle styles would be like the features, and then fine styles would be even the skin, you know, skin textures and so forth. Okay, so next one. So this is actually all of these faces are AI generated. You could see that they're pretty good, right? So the other thing that's going to be a big deal is called GPT-3. So this is called generative AI, and you'll hear a lot about GPT-3 these days. So it means that you could actually type in certain text, and then the computer would generate many things, including a visual image. So this example is you have somebody types in a male mannequin dressed in an orange and black flannel shirt. And then so the AI could actually generate that shirt. And then you see, you could type in a female, you could type in a small block sitting on a large green block, and it could do that. So this is really powerful because now it allows people to generate original contents based on certain descriptions. And you'll see some examples later on. So I wanted to go through several categories of how AI is used in fashion and in the jewelry industry, starting with forecasting. And then there's grading, sorting, design, content creation, commerce, and personalization. And all of these are very exciting areas. So one is forecasting. So as you probably know, fashion is one of the hardest things to forecast because of the very short industry trends, short cycles, and so forth. So here, this company uses machine learning and analyzes the images in social media. And it is able to tag some of these things to certain categories. So for example, this whole thing is read into several of these categories. And then when people search for an image, so I don't know if you've ever used image search, you could basically feed an image onto Google Lens, and then it would show you what that image is. So when people see something in social media that they like, they could actually use visual search to be able to find that item. So the other thing about forecasting is it needs to estimate demand from the consumer, the market trends, and also even up to the size and the color, and then be able to distribute the items in a very optimal way so that the right items go to the right store. So this company actually gives you the end-to-end solution to forecast demand, spot trends, and then manage your inventory that way. So there's actually a lot of companies that are providing end-to-end solutions for fashion brands, as well as fashion retailers and wholesalers. So this is a jewelry industry use case. This one is about grading and sorting. So AI learned from a real image. And so it's taught to recognize what is called an inclusion and what is called a reflection. So basically what it does is it recognizes that this is an inclusion, and then these are reflections. And then it compares this with a database of diamond grading information provided by GIA, and it assigns it a clarity grade. And so this helps scale and improves the accuracy of diamond grading. So this is just one example. This is called Gem Intelligence. This is also grading and sorting. So it is used to verify the authenticity and origin of the gemstones. So what it does is it goes back to a data set that from this lab, and it also compares to things that their clients have been selling. And then it is able to identify whether something is actually authentic or not. But I think the biggest opportunity in the future is actually when it goes to a blockchain solution, that you could actually have every single movement of that stone tracked on smart contracts on a blockchain. So the good thing about blockchain is entirely traceable. So you could actually trace back every single smart contract and know, where a gemstone comes from. So this is going to be what they'll move to in the future. This is gemstone grading and sorting. So this uses computer vision, and it classifies stones by color and shapes. And so when it has a lot of different descriptions, like all these are the classes. So what you need to do is you basically set up these classes, and then you teach the algorithm to recognize and classify according to these classes. So it uses computer vision and then be able to tell you whether something is the class number 4 or class number 5, and then you could actually sort things that way. So I want to stop here for a moment, Edna, and then.
Yes, at this point, we want to pause for the two panelists to give their thoughts and input so far on how on the grading and sorting aspects of the jewelry industry. So maybe Mr. Li from ChinaStone, you can come in and unmute yourself, please. Oh, can you unmute yourself, Mr. Li? I think Mr. Li is calling in from Thailand, Bangkok, and there is an issue with the connection and the stability of the Wi-Fi.
Can you hear now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yes. I just say for the Gemstone and the diamond, which we track the sourcing and get the report. For me, I want to know if it's possible. Also, we use the similar system. First of all, we try to build in like we call the Gemstone smart pricing system. It's how to. First of all, we go to learn from experienced people. We get the data, we get all the information from professional and experienced people. This is the first we learn, AI system to learn. And then analyze the data or information they get from experienced people. This experienced people, not only one, possible to be more than one or many, as better as more, okay. And then this AI system can react or predict the new question or the new require from the people, which is like a gem dinner, professional gemstone, or jewelry people like this.
Okay.
Yes.
How about your experience so far within ChinaStone? How have you used AI in terms of sorting and categorizing the products you have had?
Yes, we use two parts right now. First part is we use to sorting, which is already a few years. We get from the information, get the data from the color, the size, then we sort into be different part, different category. This is one part. Second part, we were going to launch next month or probably after Chinese New Year. Is in our new website. We can, our system can learn from the question, and we can keep, and we can analyze, and also we can actually is learning and automatically answer all the questions from the people which is come to our website. All the questions about the gemstone, about the pricing, about the delivery time, and so on like this. This is two parts we are already started.
So you're going to be applying
Yes.
AI technology to answer the questions your customers have via your website. Is that correct?
Yes, also learning and keep more information. So we can, the beauty for us is they can get answer always immediately, and also they can, they don't need the people to waiting to like an email right now for like a days. Okay.
Would there be a limit of the type of questions your customers are allowed to ask?
Yes. Yes, my question is like I already asked in the beginning is I say next work we try to do is we call the natural gemstone smart pricing system. This we need to cooperate with a really, how to say, really professional people in the AI part. And also we need more experience and professionally a gem dinner in the gemstone part.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Li.
Okay.
How about Mr. Ken Wong? Do you have any thoughts you want to share?
Okay, first of all, thanks very much, Jeanne, to give us sharing an introduction about AI from a user prospect. I think I really agree is that today, AI can help us to enhance our shopping experience. Like Mr. Lee, actually a few years ago when I visited Bangkok, I'm really impressed to see Mr. Lee, how they initiate a new idea to help we call a user, they can easily to select the right puzzle of color stone. I think they not only in use of AI, I think important is that before because we can put in AI, I think standardization is really important. Everything must be standard, so that the data should be cleaned up, and then so that we can use this kind of data to have a more accurate kind of assumption. So, for example, we already put in use this kind of technology into our daily operation. Just like one of our smart device, actually we use RFID for nearly 10 years, okay? And on top of that, we also use what we call a smart trade, a kind of 6 to 7 years ago. Because matching with the RFID tab, matching together with the jewelry pieces. So whenever a customer, they want to browse or they want to enjoy, the shopping journey. So all these kind of action or behavior already keep record into our smart device. So that is talking about 40 years ago, what we call this is our smart trade first version. We just want to record all this data, capture all this data, and so that we clean up this data, okay? No matter by location, no matter by average selling price or product category, customer age. So now we already further upgrade to version 2.5. So today it become a what we call smart helper to our sales associate in the front line. Whenever the customer enjoy the shopping journey, they try the jewelry, and then we already can help to identify what kind of jewelry pieces they like to buy. All we're talking about is AI algorithm at the back, and also in use of the imaging technology, so that we can search, scan the most appropriate kind of design or price sector that the customer might need. So it would become a very useful helper to our sales associate. Yeah, that is something we already use. So I really agree that like the sorting, right? Diamond sorting. For example, our diamond cutting factory, we already in use of some AI scanner, okay? So that we can find out the best kind of cutting model. They give us a guideline, so then we can understand how we cut the diamond in order to capture the biggest value of the diamond pieces finish. So this already in use in what we call upstream of our jewelry industry, diamond industries, for example. But we can see a lot of opportunity further in use of this kind of AI, blockchain, learning, machine learning, or big data. Okay, how we can further in use into the midstream or the downstream or the front line, and that is a long way to go. But I really appreciate to see that Jeanne already introduced some fashion, right, industry. They already in use these kind of smart device. I think this kind of smart device, like how the fashion trend can help our jewelry design, so that we can estimate what kind of jewelry design can match with this kind of fashion. Yeah.
Yes, that's so true. That's very true indeed. At this point, maybe we can continue with Jeanne's presentation because she has a few more points she wants to bring out that can tie the fashion industry into the jewelry industry.
Okay, so I'm going to speed up a little because after you know the base technologies of AI, and then I think it's much easier for you to appreciate a lot of these solutions. They're using very similar technologies. So this is Project Muse. So basically, they have an algorithm trained to understand colors, styles, and then trend reports. So they actually read through the trend reports. And they also search through fashion influences, and it auto-generates a lot of fashion designs. So over 40,000 within the first month. So this is a pretty new project. This also is using GANs to generate new designs. So remember when I said you could type in text and then it generates a visual? This is what it's using. It's actually using GANs to generate all kinds of visual based on the text description that you type. This is called pruning, and it's a jewelry use case. So this is a Microsoft solution. So what it does is it goes through, it went through the data set of over 1,200 designs. These designs are actually artificial designs created by AI. And then 3 judges actually rank them, how good they are. So based on that learning data, it actually can go through any new designs that are generated and be able to judge whether it's a good design or a bad design. So it would prune out, that's why it's called pruning. It will prune out the bad designs and just keep the good designs. This is a generative design. So it's looking at the leaf patterns and then basically using the AI to generate new designs that looks like a leaf in nature. So this is using GANs for content creation. This is extremely helpful because content creation is very, very tedious and very expensive, especially for the fashion industry. So what it does is you could have like 4 models, and the 4 models have different sizes, right? They're modeling different sizes. And you could actually use AI to put the piece of clothing on top of them without changing the model. So you could see that actually this is the same model as you could put different hair and you could different clothes on them. So you never really need to have the different models for different styles. You basically just have one model for each style and then be able to put hundreds of different clothes on them. Content creation, it uses AI to tag items and describe them in a very rich way so that when people search for your item, you could actually generate a more descriptive descriptive things for your catalog. This is to complete a look. So basically what the AI does, it automates the style content creation for the different styles. So you could generate contents for the top, for the pants, for the bag, and for the shoes, and be able to consolidate it on your website. So whenever somebody picks the style of the top, then you could actually generate the bottom and the clothing and the shoes as a way to complete the look so that it improves their buying cost. Content generation using digital models. So this is actually very in right now to use virtual influences and digital models to model products and model clothes, because research has shown that they generate over 3 times of the engagement of humans. So people love these digital models and there's a whole future for them. There's actually a digital agency that is dedicated to assigning digital models to brands. And this agency is doing extremely well. And as you probably heard, there are probably thousands of virtual influencers and virtual models in China right now. So this content creation is quite useful. So what it does is you use, again, the technology called GANs, and you could basically create videos by typing a simple text. So let's say you want this person to say, hey, Merry Christmas, for example. And you just type, hey, Merry Christmas, and she'll be able to, this AI could generate the actual person if you want a female or if you want a male, they could generate an actual person, and they could have the person lip sync and say those words, and actually say those words in multiple languages, 40 languages, 50 languages. So if you run a global e-commerce site, e-commerce company, you could actually have videos produced at scale in all different languages without having one film crew present. You just basically ask the marketing people to type in some text. So this is what it's for: personalized video messages. So at every step of the customer journey, you can actually generate personalized videos in people's own languages on your website for content promotional purposes. So this is content search. So as before, basically you could look at something that you like on social media and then search it on the Google Lens, and the Google Lens would be able to identify the item and you could buy it. This is magic mirrors. I think you've probably heard of it. There are many brands who actually have this now in the retail store. So you basically pick a piece of clothing, and then you stand in front of this magic mirror, and then the computer vision scans the clothing, the RFID, and then it puts the clothing on top of you. So it looks like you're wearing it without actually having to change your clothes in the fitting room. That's why they call it magic mirrors. This is for e-commerce. So for example, you could have a catalog of earrings, and then the AI maps where your ears are, where your face is, and then you use the augmented reality to place the earrings on your ears. So it's like a virtual try-on. It's called Dango app. So Warner Parker is a glasses company. They use AI to also map your face and your eyes. And then they actually send you a box of glasses and you could try it. And then, so before that you actually have to buy a box of glasses, and then they send it to you, and then you return whatever you don't want. But now with the app, you could actually just look at the catalog and then pick the glasses that you want, and then just put it on top of your face, because the AI knows where your face and your eyes are. And then you could actually try it on that way without having the box sent through the mail. So this is e-commerce. It's basically an end-to-end solution. So it tags and catalogs images from many different sources. And then an AI stylist matches your style preference and taste and recommends products. So basically you have your own personal stylist, and you don't need to really go out and hire a stylist anymore. And then after that, it sends emails with recommendations to you so you could buy them on a website. And then it could use GANs so that you could generate the piece of items to put on your body so you could actually try it at home. So this is an end-to-end automated AI e-commerce solution. So personalization, just a quick thing is, so you basically take the client data, what the person has transacted in the past, and the merchandise data, and then the feedback data for, yeah, I think there's something, okay. And then the feedback from the customers, and triage all these different data, and then come up with a personal recommended piece of clothing for you. So this is similar. It uses augmented reality and place the item that you pick on top of a virtual model, and then you could actually customize it according to what you want. Let's say you don't want it to be in gray, you want it to be red, or you want like another pair of shoes to go with it. So you could customize everything through the AR app. I thought this is interesting. This is called the data dress. So it basically takes your activities over 7 days. So it monitors everything that you've done on social media and what you've bought, and it generates a algorithm that creates a digital dress based on what you like. I mean, this is kind of interesting. It's kind of personal, like a personal design. I don't know, whether everybody likes to have their life displayed on their dress, but it's kind of an interesting concept. The other personalization company is called Genome. So it takes the data from everybody's transaction before, from their size and from what they bought, in terms of top, bottom, and dress and shoes. And then, so this information is available on the website of their customers. So when you go and visit the website, you already have all your data there. And then it automatically matches the merchandise with your personal fit, so that you know that whenever you buy something, it is fitting to your personal taste and your personal sizes. This is a jewelry use case where you could pick the kind of ring that you want. So let's say you go on social media and it already knows what you've searched before. So it would recommend something for you. And then it would recommend the style and the pricing. And you could actually select that and then have it virtually placed on your hand. So you put it in front of your iPhone, and basically it'll place the ring on your hand as if you were wearing it. So this is a diamond selection tool. So you go and pick the shape, the setting, the metal, and the budget. And it would go through and suggest the diamond that might be suitable for you. And so, so basically it'll be fitting your colors and your style preferences. So I wanted to stop here, Edna, and have the panel discuss some of the personalized.
Wow, this is very interesting. It's a little scary, actually, how machine learning can be so intelligent and can really go inside your world and read your mind. But I guess that's the way forward. And
you could opt out. You could opt out if you want.
Yeah, but this is very intriguing, actually, to see that the fashion industry has actually gone through has gone that far to apply AI technology in their processing and also the way they operate the business. So at this point, I want to invite Chow Tai Fook to share a video that they have, and it's on personalization and also how they see the business moving forward too. So can I please invite Chow? Oh no, actually, Harriet will be showing the video from Chow Tai Fook.
通过手机就可以定制专属于自己的珠宝，24小时极速就可以实现你的愿望。周大福 C2M 制定随心中心，通过全新的 D1 极速定制平台，几步简单的操作，轻松搞定整个定制流程。通过智能互联，生产过程手机实时查看，生产仿真系统预测生产进度。 通过世界先进的自动化智能设备生产制造，当设计与制造相遇，为设计注入智能新元素。知你所想，定制珠宝首饰解决方案平台，极速定制，只因专注。周大福 D1。
Thank you for sharing. So can I invite Mr. Wong to share what they have in the pipeline or what they have been doing so far?
Yeah, first of all, I really appreciate Jeanne what she shared with us how the fashion industry already implements into the in the supply chain, and they not only transform, but they already deliver. So I think we can find a lot of things we can work together with the fashion industry, like all those apps you already developed. I think we have the same kind of logic, which is how we can connect consumer and manufacturer, so that we can reduce a lot of what we call middlemen or even a lot of waiting time, lost time. I think based on this idea, so that we developed our C2M program, what we call C2M Customization Center. The idea is that we have a lot of pain point that in the past, when the customer go in the shop looking for customizations, we have a lot of procedures pass through. For example, we have to pass through different department or what we call manufacturing section. So all these kind of what we call become a burden. We pass through all these kind of information through digitalization. So I think that is the future of the our jewelry industry, which is how we can use digital to transform our information. So I think D1 we just launched, which is last year. I think it because we remember that last year, second half of the year, we facing a big challenge, which is a COVID, right? COVID, we have locked down most of our outlet, our store. But thanks to our smart device, cloud sales 365 is based on a what we call little program of 10 cents based on this platform. So we developed a D1 digital customization mobile apps. So what now today we have a very encouraging result about D1 customization contribute about 5% of our diamond sales in mainland China. If you look into the carat size by the carat size, 1 carat of diamond jewelry piece customization, which contribute about 15% of our total sale. And then 2 carat size, which contribute about nearly 30% of our sales. So that means we can see it can help us to connect customer without any burden that in the past we only keep the stock in the storefront, right? We can only provide a limited selection in the store. Imagine that if we have thousands of diamond selection in the mobile as a pool, and then we have another we have some what we call top sellable jewelry design, so that we can help the customer to make a fast and easy selection. So that is we can find the magic of how we use this kind of mobile apps. Actually, in fact, understand that a lot of our technicians, our scientists work at the back to help us to make it come true. But no matter what, as a user, I think user-friendly is really important. User experience is really important. Yeah, this is my sharing. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. How about Mr. Lee? Do you have any comments and thoughts?
Okay, I say amazing Zhoudafu jewelry manufacture system. For us, we are very interesting or very, how to say, we want to, if we can prevent the good pricing system, so after the jewelry is done, you can get the price. Even the stone, especially the color stone from different company, from different country, from different cutter. So this system, we try to build it to get quickly pricing. No, we make, as we say, we make a 4-step. First step is a learning, then memory. This is a lot of people use it. For us, we are more and more interesting. We spend more time and the power and energy to do is analyze and the prediction. Especially for finally, we can, how to say, okay, like a gemstone for jewelry people, for gem dinner, many of them. It's not so we don't have so clearly standard you can use as a reference. They always need a price list, but the price list is a fixed for a month, for a year, and for one condition. This AI system we are dream to do is with quite a flexibly condition. It may come from different source, different way to cutting, and different company, even from a supply or shipping to different country. That's what they say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. So maybe we can, are there any more comments? Mr. Wong, you want to add anything?
Yeah, yes, I really agree, Mr. Lee. I think how our jewelry industry should work all together to find out a universal supply chain solution. I think that is really important because that can help our jewelry industry to sustain our business. As you understand that we are not competed within the e-jewelry industry, so we have to compete with other luxury products. So how we use of all this data from say from the upstream like diamond cutting factory to the jewelry designer and manufacturer, and then ultimately we give our end user, a one of a kind experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Okay, I think Jeanne is not finished with her presentation, so why don't we move back to your presentation?
Okay, I just have just one more slide. So I wanted to finish with this slide that talks about what are the best ways of using AI, because AI could solve a lot of problems, but different technologies of AI are at different stages. So I think if you look at the problem and be able to categorize in these different boxes, that would be helpful in assessing whether AI is the right solution and it's ready to solve your problem. So on the left side, this is the most mature part, which is the process optimization. So basically, if you think about any process that you have that is repetitive, that's high volume, that has a lot of human errors, so AI could help in that. So, so basically, it could automate a lot of these repeat processes and scale those processes and increase accuracy and scalability. The second one is if you have a lot of complex information that you bring in, and you have to triage a lot of structured information, visual information or text information. So the AI could help you triage the information and then predict based on the information statistically what is going to be the next thing. So, so let's say going back to the question about pricing. So AI definitely can do a pricing analysis and prediction. I think what is important is if you could categorize the different inputs. So basically it's the algorithm needs an input and then it would output the prediction, right? So on the input side, so I could imagine you have transactional data, but you also have market trends and things that are a little bit less structured. So you have to be able to identify what are those signals that you want to take in as input data. And I think Mr. Lee also talked about experts. The experts' experience is valuable. And maybe I imagine if there's 100 experts, each expert might not use the same signals. Maybe expert A uses 5 different other signals and expert B is 7 signals. So I think there's a value in going through that process to understand what signal each expert uses and then be able to bring that also back into the input to the AI. And then, so at the end of the day, the AI should be able to score all these input and then be able to predict the outcome, which is a pricing. So I guess that's the process of doing it. Of course, there's a lot of complexity in it. You need data scientists, you need AI experts to put together that AI model, but definitely it could be done. I mean, fashion has done it. You know, they have all these different signals and they have to react so quickly, and they have forecast algorithms in place and they're working very well. So the third box is personalization. And this is very, very powerful because it allows mass customization and mass personalization. So whereas before you have these mom and pop shops being able to personalize to somebody, now you could have like basically millions of products that are personalized to each customer. So this is extremely valuable. And then last one is pattern discovery. So I mention it because there's so many applications based on the GANs that I mentioned and also GPT-3 that you could use them to generate new products and contents at scale. So this is going to be a very powerful technology to use in the future. So I'm just finishing with this slide. This is me. If you want to be in contact, this is my email. I am, again, not specialized in either the fashion or the jewelry industry, obviously, but I've learned so much from a lot of AI experts. My CTO is an AI expert. And at the end of the day, AI is a cross-domain technology that could use in many different ways. That's the end of my presentation, Ed.
Thank you very much, Jeanne. It's very interesting and thought-provoking, intriguing. I'm sure that there are lots of thoughts happening among our audiences and questions. So actually, before we go to the Q&A part, which the audience can type in through the Q&A box at the bottom of the panel, you type in the question, and then we will take it from there. I just want to see if Mr. Wong or Mr. Lee, if you have any final comments on what Jeanne has talked about so far before we move on to Q&A. Yeah, Mr. Wong, please.
Yeah. I would like to ask Jeanne, you have already introduced a quite comprehensive kind of AI solution for fashion industry. Of course, may I ask today, is there in the market, is there anyone called ready to use AI solution package for the industry, or you have to what we call tailor-made to different industry participants? Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the industry applications, most of them are put together by consultants that are specialized in a certain industry. Because they understand the needs of the customer, whether it's a B2B customer or a or a B2C customer. So I think so far I've seen the application successfully implemented mostly through that kind of domain expertise, bringing together all these different technologies together into one workable solution. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So do you see any of possibility that the fashion, the experience in developing AI solution, right, to help the industry can leverage to the jewelry industry? Is there any possible? Or yeah,
I definitely think it's possible. So the people who develop the technology for the fashion industry, the AI scientists and the data scientists, they are not domain experts. They are just developing these based on requirements. So it's really important for somebody to go to you as the domain expert, Mr. Wong, and to Mr. Lee and everybody in the industry to basically understand what they're trying to achieve, the requirements, and then communicate that to the AI experts and the data scientists so that they could put together the right solution. Yeah, but definitely, AI again is across industry enabling technology. So the principles could definitely be applied to the jewelry industry.
Yeah. So last question, which is, I think most of our industry are concerned about the cost, Would that involve a big investment? I think, of course, you have to change the culture of the company, right? And not only this, I think the most important is how you change the people's mindset, and then so that they can learn something, right? So can continue to learn. And then lastly, which is talking about big investment. How can you release some information about that so to help our industry so feel more confident to continue to invest into that?
Yeah, so on the first question, I think it's really smart to look into implementing technology in phases. And so, you know, you could actually pilot something if it's successful, and then, you know, phase 2, phase 3. A lot of technology, when they implement it, have what we call a human loop. There's a human actually jumps in and make the final decision, or give some input. It's not automated from the beginning because, you know, it's not ready yet. The technology needs to learn from humans. And then it's sort of like you're raising a child. You have to teach them what is right and what is wrong. And then they'll be able to learn from that experience, right? So the other question is the cost. So I think you're the early adopter. so you already have the resources. But I think most companies probably want to not want to build an AI department. It's very time consuming, very costly, but there are a lot of open source tools now available by the big tech companies. And you could basically use them as the platform, as the tools, and create your own algorithm. So it's entirely possible. Of course, you need to bring in a consultant, an AI expert for that particular project. But once it's already done, then basically it runs on its own. So I think right now, you know, the costs are not so not so big anymore.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Lee, I know you have a question that you want to put out.
Yeah, they already asking part of my question, but for me, okay, like a Gemstone mostly is like a traditional style or not so big corporation. For me, I have experience is 20 years ago, we started to building, more than 20 years ago, started to building our first website. I remember even for the database cost me almost $40,000 to build it. Today, probably $400 you can buy and change something, you can use it. My question is, I know I try to do what I call the Gemstone smart printing system. It is quite high. I try to contact some company in UK, China. It's a big number. My question is,
we are missing you. We are losing you.
This project will go to be done. We'll be waiting to be like we think is recent is me. I need the production for the cost. How is tomorrow or after tomorrow? Today is quite cost a lot. I need to be building an AI system at this moment. I contact with, I may, after some time, this will be more reasonable. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Lee, we have to, because we keep losing you, so we turn off your video so we can try to hear you better.
Okay.
So maybe you can repeat
again,
your. Yeah, we
okay.
missed some parts of your questions.
Okay.
Sorry.
Again, my question is my experience first is 20 years ago, I tried to build in a website. Cost me a lot to do something which costs very little today. It is possible in future or near future, the AI system for the technology side to build it will be more reasonable price than today. easily will be cheaper in the future or not? Yes, hello.
Yeah, I think definitely technology cost is coming down. And as I mentioned, there are so many open source solutions and tools available. Regarding your smart pricing system, I think it looks really interesting. But if I look at what the fashion industry again has done, I mean, I think definitely there's a way to come up with that smart pricing system. Again, it depends on what kind of input signals you could identify and bring in to train the algorithm. So I think that part needs somebody actually who knows data scientists, who's a data scientist who knows data science to be able to identify what the input data could be.
Thank you.
Yep. We have a few questions in the Q&A box, so I'll choose some. So the first one is, will AI technologies render jewelry designers and bespoke gemstone cutters obsolete? So will these traditional professions go obsolete because of AI?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there's a similar discussion elsewhere in many other industries. So the way I look at it is, I think AI could scale the design, but not replace original designs. So you remember AI always learns from the past, right? So the pruning solution requires it to actually look at what humans judge to be a good design and then prune out the bad designs. But it can't really create, as well as humans, original designs that have no past history. So I think in a way it's good. Actually, it pushes humans to be more innovative and more creative, because now they have to go and think about original designs and not just copying the previous or the patterns from the past.
That's so true. Actually, there is, this leads to another question, which I think you answered partly already. The question is, can AI, the AI design creations actually be original? So the answer is no, right? They cannot be original.
Yes, so this word original, it's very difficult to define, because if you ask any artist, they would say that, oh, their mentor is, a Renaissance painter. So everybody has like brought in some sort of a pattern into their heads, right? And then, so they created something original, but they still learn from the past. So I think original, it's very hard to say what is original, but I think humans, if you look at human creativity, definitely it's many, many levels above what AI could do, because humans could actually transcend the past data and create a new genre. Even though they're influenced by the past, they could actually create something that's exciting, that also connects with people emotionally. I think that's the difference.
Yeah. So can its design be copyright protected, especially with trend forecasting within the fashion industry context, for example? How would the rise of AI-generated designs impact issues such as design piracy?
So, yeah, it's a kind of a hard question, because algorithm is not patentable. You can't patent an algorithm. You could patent a process, but algorithms is not really patentable. You could protect a model after you train the algorithm. For example, this data is coming from your proprietary information, and then you use it to train your algorithm. And then, so the end result could be, certain things could be patentable. So if you're talking about an AI designer, I guess the fundamental question is, who owns the design, right?
Yeah.
Is it the person, is it the company that owns the AI, or is it the software company that provides the software to the company? So there's a lot of question about it. I mean, it's like self-driving car, right? If you're in an accident, is it the manufacturer's fault? Is it the software fault? Is it the owner who didn't upgrade the software? It's like so many legal questions around AI algorithms.
So there's no fixed answer, proper answer to these questions.
It's an evolving field. They even talk about AI algorithm being board members. So
that's scary.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question because we have to wrap up now. So the question is, can you help us understand what would motivate the domain experts, not the business owners, the actual domain experts, to contribute to these AI solutions that you propose will be replacing their roles?
Yeah, I was hoping that you wouldn't ask that question because it's very
I didn't ask that question. It's the audience. It came from the audience.
Yeah, it's a tough question because humans tend to resist change, especially when they're very good at something, right? If they're experts, they're good at something. But I mean, going back to, I don't know, I mean, if they are looking at going to the next level, I mean, is there something that would help them do it? Maybe the AI could help them scale the effort and so that they're more productive, so that they could have time to actually go to the next level to create new things and invent new things. So it's hard to answer because it really depends on personal motivations, right? Some people would think it's a great opportunity for us, for them to actually transform themselves. Some people would be a little bit more protective and they would see AI as an enemy. So there's no hard and fast rule. I think, yeah, this is a really, really important question for many industries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep, certainly. Oh, so I'm afraid we need to wrap up at this point. And then before we close, can I invite Ms. Letitia Chow, the chairperson and founder of JWA, to give some closing remarks. Letitia, please.
Good day, friends from all over the world. My heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining us today.
Oh, here, now we can see you, Letitia.
Your participation and contribution make this webinar a fruitful and meaningful gathering. As an organizer, we want you to leave this webinar with dreams and aspirations on how to move our jewelry industry forward. And here, I would sincerely invite you to join the JWA Awards presentation ceremony, which will be held in Dubai on 21st of February 2022 at the eve of the JGT Dubai International B2B Jewelry Show. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia. And let's all give a big hand to our speakers today, Ms. Jeanne Lim, Mr. Ken Wong, and Mr. Li Chongjie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It has been really fascinating discussion. Like I said, to me, it seems a bit scary, but that's the way forward. So we have to embrace changes and look forward. We hope you have all enjoyed the discussion today. We will be hosting one more webinar under Leading Through Change and Uncertainty in January 2022. And before we go, can I extend our appreciation to our webinar sponsor, once again, P&J. Thank you, P&J, for making this possible and happening. So everyone, please stay tuned for our next webinar, which the topic will be the key to build a successful branding and marketing campaign. And that will be on 18th of January, 2022. So thank you everyone for joining from all over the world, and see you at our next webinar. Bye-bye.
Full time.